is a place known for book recommendations. You can find a list for basically any genre. I'm personally in the mood for some thrillers, so I watched over 30 recommendation videos. We'll see if we can trust my fellow booktubers to find me my next 5-star thriller read.
It's time for the 13 Nights of Sarah
Hi besties, welcome back to Sarahween. We're still kicking with all these videos. I'm not in my normal filming locale because I'm actually in Texas visiting Riley for 2 weeks. So you might see her pop up here and there in this vlog. And more important news, let's talk about these top thrillers according to booktubers. I'm only going to be reading the top 3 books that showed up the most, but I will share with you the top 10 in case you're curious. There were 6 books that had 3 people recommending them. The Night She Disappeared, Sharp Objects, The Arrangement, Night Swim, Who is Maud Dixon, and Dark Matter. I was really surprised that Sharp Objects and Dark Matter both only had 3 votes. I would think that those would have more because those have adaptations. I hadn't really heard of a lot of the other ones. Obviously I've heard of like Night Swim, but other than that, Who is Maud Dixon? I have no idea. There were 3 books that had 4 mentions. Look Closer, I Let You Go, and Behind Her Eyes. If I'd had more time to film this vlog, then I probably would have tried to read these 3 and read like 6 in total for the video, but we're on a time crunch when we're doing Sarahween. Now we're getting into the top 3. We have 2 books that have 5 mentions, Local Woman Missing, and None of This Is True. I was not surprised to see this Lisa Jewell in the top 3 because I know this book was really popular last year. I saw it on a lot of people's favorites lists, and I also think that it won the Goodreads Choice Award for thrillers. Don't quote me on that, but I think it did. I have read one Mary Kubica. I don't think I'm saying that right. I think it was called Pretty Baby, and there was a baby in it, and I didn't really like that one. It wasn't really a thriller. It was kind of like a psychological study of some characters, and I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy that one all that much. So I am looking forward to reading this. I do think it might be a domestic thriller, which isn't my favorite thing in the world, but I'll give it a go. And then the book that was recommended the most at 6 mentions was, drumroll please, Daisy Darker. Besides Rock, Paper, Scissors, I think this might be the most popular Alice Feeney. I know a lot of people love this. I wasn't surprised to see this because it is kind of an Agatha Christie retelling and people tend to really enjoy those. So I actually already owned this copy. I got it from Book of the Month a really long time ago. I was going to read this for one of those Giving Authors I Hate a Second Chance video, but I guess I'm going to read it in this one because the girlies love this one. So we'll have to see what I think. I'm hoping that Miss Alice can redeem herself. It's going to be hard because the last book was very bad. I think it was on my worst list last year or the year before. So this is my TBR for the video. Excited to get into it. I hope that I love at least one of these because I am in desperate need of a 5-star thriller. I just need to feel something. I need to be twisted up like a little pretzel. I need to be shocked. Like somebody needs to give me something, okay?
Next up, we have Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney, my favorite Alice Feeney book.
This is an unputdownable thriller that grips you and pulls you into the story.
This one also has a nice classic murder mystery feel since it's inspired off of an Agatha Christie story.
And if you're worried that you've read that book and you know the twists, you know the ending, so you think you're gonna see this ending coming, I promise you there are twists that will shock you.
It was a good book and you guys should definitely check it out if you want like a locked room mystery.
Okay besties, I am about halfway through Daisy Darker and I have mixed feelings. I don't really know what I think of this so far. So this book is following the Darker family and the matriarch of the family is their grandmother, and she invites everyone to this island where they have like a family cottage to celebrate her 90th birthday, I believe. And when everyone gets there, she ends up revealing her will and everyone is very upset with the terms of her will, and then she is found dead. I'm very wary of anyone who tries to write an Agatha Christie retelling because I've only read bad ones, but so far this is probably one of the better ones that I've come across. The narrator is Daisy Darker, who is the youngest daughter of the family. They're all adults now, like in their like, I believe like 30s and early 40s. And the story is kind of going between what's happening now on the island and then also Daisy telling us stories of their family growing up. If you've read And Then There Were None, I definitely think that you'll see the parallels. It's not one-to-one, thank God. I would not like this if it was one-to-one, but I will say that more than one person has started dying. So that kind of, you know, goes off of And Then There Were None. And then also there are like videotapes and cassettes left behind that the family has to watch like every time something dramatic happens. My biggest issue with this story so far is that I think I know what's going on. I think I've already predicted the twist. I don't know everything. I think there's still things that I could be surprised about, but I definitely think I know what the main thing is. I will admit that at first I didn't really like Daisy's character voice. Now that I know more about her as a person, I kind of understand why she talks the way that she does, and so I'm kind of on board with it. But I don't know, I just have mixed feelings on this so far. I think because I'm pretty sure I predicted what's going on. My favorite thrillers are always the ones that surprise me and where I don't see the twist coming. It's very rare that I see a twist and I end up loving the thriller. So right now this is kind of sitting at like a 3-star reading experience, but I definitely do want to continue and find out. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, or maybe there's more to the story, which I definitely think there could be, because what kind of goes hand in hand with And Then There Were None retellings is that there's like a complex thing going on and like how all the messages are being left behind and how people are being killed. Okay, besties, I finished this and a bunch of my nails have fallen off. A lot's happened since we last spoke. I didn't really like this, unfortunately. I think because I predicted the twist, this book just didn't really hold a lot of value to me. I also just don't enjoy Agatha Christie retellings. I think they're always just not good. I don't know, thriller authors have like this obsession with mirroring like an old movie or like an old book from like the 40s, and I'm just like, maybe just don't do that. I don't know. From what I could see of reviews online, a lot of people were surprised by the twist, which was a little bit surprising to me because I thought it was very obvious. This is definitely light years better than the other Alice Feeney book I read, which was called Sometimes I Lie. I didn't enjoy that book at all. This one was a little bit better. I would give this like 2.5 stars. I don't really do half stars, but like it's not quite a 2-star, but it's not quite a 3-star either. So definitely like a 2.5 situation. I'll probably rate it 2 on Goodreads. Sorry to everyone who loves this. This definitely isn't one of those thrillers that I'm like mad about. Like I think it's fine that other people like it. It just didn't work for me because I predicted everything that was going, like I literally predicted every single thing that happened. With that being said, I'm gonna do a little bit of a spoiler section right now. So if you don't want to be spoiled about this book, then please skip to the next kind of section of the timestamps. I just really want to go over what the twist was so that you guys can understand like why I didn't really like it. When the book starts out, something I noticed immediately about Daisy is that she had a very like childish character voice, and it was kind of irritating me, and I couldn't tell why she was striking me as immature. And then as the book went on, I kept noticing that her family members were not talking to her. And then there's this one part where their family friend Connor shows up and Daisy like tries to talk to him in her bedroom, and he just completely does not respond to her. And I went, oh, she's dead. And so from then on, I just could tell in every single scene that Daisy was a ghost because the way that everyone ignored her and never spoke to her. Fast forward, we find out that the reason that everyone is like dropping dead at this dinner party is because the grandma orchestrated this, because she knew that many years ago, her sisters Rose, Lily, and then also Connor went to a party on the beach and got really drunk, and Daisy snuck out with them, and then they accidentally hit her with their car. And so she's been dead since she was 13, which is why her character voice was very young. The whole time I was reading it, I was like, okay, this is giving Sixth Sense, so she's definitely dead. And then the only person who could see her was her niece Trixie, which was also very obvious because Trixie was the only one that would speak to her. And so I was like, okay, the grandma is orchestrating this, faking her death, because this is And Then There Were None retelling. And then I was like, okay, Trixie is the one helping her orchestrate this plan. And we found out that that's true. So Trixie and the grandma killed literally everyone. I just think the twist of the main character being a ghost is a little bit overdone. Like we saw it in The Sixth Sense, it's not really a shocker anymore. And so I don't know, it was very predictable. Also the way that it was written, it was not written in a very clever way. It was like straight up, she would talk and every line she'd be like, my sister's ignoring me, my mom's ignoring me, like nobody's responding to me, they never hug me. And there was like all these like very strong hints that no one could see her except for Trixie. And even at the end, the grandma wants to see her. Like the grandma knows she's a ghost, so the grandma kills herself so she can like see her, because apparently only people who've had like a death experience are able to see her. It's the reason Trixie can see her is because they actually have the same heart problem. That was like a whole thing in the book as well, of Daisy having this heart thing, and that's why she was kind of treated different in her family. And everyone in this was like very unlikable, and I'm usually on board with unlikable characters. There's a lot of thrillers and horror and books that I like where the characters are really bad people, and I like it. But there was something about this brand of family where it didn't work for me. And I think it's also because of Daisy was kind of put as like the nicest person in the family. She wasn't even that good either. I don't really have much more to say about this. I just don't think Alice Feeney is for me. I'm gonna try my hardest not to pick up her books anymore, but I get why other people might like this if you were surprised. For me, I saw it from a mile away. Like I think I was only 30% of the way through the book when I figured out what the twist was. Up next, I'm going to be reading None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I've never read a Lisa Jewell before, but I know that she's a very popular thriller author. I think the reason that I've never picked up Lisa Jewell is she kind of gives me the vibe that this is for like middle-aged women. And I do know that the characters in this are like a little bit older. They're like in their 40s. So I don't know, something about it. But I actually enjoy reading older characters now, so I think I will like this. I'm also not a huge fan of domestic thrillers, and I do think there is some domestic stuff in this. I am going in with open eyes and open heart because there is a podcast element, and I live for a podcast element. I'll probably check in with you guys tomorrow after I go to Fredericksburg with Riley. We're gonna go for a little shopping day. We're gonna buy a little bit of things and have a cute little time. So I will have to show you guys some of the stuff that we buy. I'll also be doing like a fall haul like in my Patreon vlog, because I'm gonna have a whole vlog of the 2 weeks I've been spending with Riley.
None of This Is True by Lisa Joel.
If you want a dark and twisty book about female friendships and you want a villain who is a woman, this might be a good book to read.
And I'm laughing because I'm just like, this book was just so wild. If you have to read this book because the book is wild and it really is like the title, like none of this is true.
Again, you never really know what's going on. You never really know what's happening fully, if you're getting the full story, if any of it's even real or not.
So it feels original, it feels unique, it feels like you have information coming from various parts. So
okay, yesterday we went to Fredericksburg, and as promised, I'm going to share a couple of the things that I got. I was there. This first thing is actually something that Riley bought for me. We were walking around the stores, and I was saying that I really wanted a necklace that had an S on it, but the S's, I couldn't find them anywhere, and so then she found this on a random rack, and so she bought it for me, and she surprised me with it. But it's one of those kind of like puffy letters. I just thought this would be a really cute necklace for like layering. And then I got one of the most impractical things that I've ever seen in my life, but I had to get it because it's so cute. And it's this little mini Stanley cup with a bow on it. It's like a little shot glass. And I just thought this was so, I had no need for this at all. And it was kind of expensive, but it's so fucking cute. I was like, I actually have to have that. I think the next time that me and Erin have a party at our house, I'm gonna put all of my cocktails in here, and this will help me drink more slowly. I guess I could take real shots out of it, but I don't really like doing shots. So, and the last thing I'll share with you guys is this dress that I got that I thought was so cute. It's this little puff sleeve dress, because you guys know I love a puff sleeve. Everything I own is puff sleeve. And this one, I had to get it because I love the scallop details at the top here. And yeah, I actually bought a lot more stuff. I spent a lot of money, too much. I probably won't look at how much I spent, but you know, I'm on vacation and it's like, treat yourselves. If you're interested in seeing the rest of the stuff I got, I am doing a whole vlog on my Patreon if you want to join my Patreon to see that. We also did another shopping day where we went to Bells and Ross, and we got a bunch of cute stuff that day as well. I've been kind of a shopping fiend. Like I said, treat yourself. Treat yourself. It's just what you need to do. But anyway, let's get back into reading. So I'm about 25% of the way through None of This Is True. I kind of like this so far. We're following two characters. We have Alex and Josie, and they are birthday twins. They're at a restaurant. They're celebrating their birthdays, and they don't really know each other at this point. And so Alex is very glamorous. She's a podcast host. Her husband's very wealthy. And Josie's there with her husband, who is, I believe, at least 20 years older than her. So she's 45 now, and he's in his 60s. He's getting much older. And so she is not very happy with her life. And she sees Alex having fun, being very vivacious and bright. And so she corners her in the bathroom, and she's like, hey, our birthday's on the same day. We're birthday twins. And then after Josie figures out who Alex is, like she listens to her podcast, she gets very obsessed with her. And then she's like, hey, Alex, you need to make your podcast about me. And she's like, what would it even be about? Like, what about you? And she's like, I was groomed when I was a teenager, and my husband is so much older than me. Like, I was 15 and he was 43 when we got together. I don't know what the math is there, but that's not adding up to me. And we also find out very early on, like the first chapter, we get these flash forwards of news people talking about this like Netflix special coming out called Birthday Twins, and that 2 people are dead. So something is going to go down with Alex and Josie, like someone's going to kill someone. I'm really loving the dynamic between Josie and Alex, because Alex is just trying to get her work done. She's trying to make a little podcast, and Josie's like, will you match my freak? Because I'm a little bit of a freak. She becomes very obsessed with Alex, and it's giving single white female, and I am really, really loving it. I feel like Josie's a really complex character because obviously she has come up in a very like sad situation where this man has groomed her, and so I'm very intrigued to see where the story goes. I have no idea who's gonna die. Okay, I'm coming at you very late at night with my friend Murphy. Murphy's been sleeping with me at night because there's so many dogs here, and he's a big boy and he takes up a lot of the bed, so he's been my little buddy. Well, we're here to tell you that I finished None of This Is True by Lisa Joel, and it's gonna be a 5 stars from me, baby. There was something about this thriller where it just took me where I needed to go. The audiobook was so good. It had a full cast and it had a lot of sound effects, and it was so good. It was so good. I think what really worked for me with this is that it's not necessarily supposed to be a twist that you see coming, because it is very much implied very early on that one of the women has more issues than the other. Obviously Josie's the one that kind of starts developing an obsession over Alex, and so you're just kind of waiting to find out what the truth is. Like obviously, like the title says, none of this is true. And I think because of that, it really worked for me, because I think my issue with a lot of thrillers is that I predict the twist or like where it's going, and there even was one little tiny twist at the end that kind of threw me off that I didn't see coming. I will admit that even though this is a perfect 5 star for me, there are quite a few people who don't like this. There's an aspect of the story that is a little problematic, and I could see why it would bother someone else. My take on this is that there are certain characters that give other characters a pass just because one thing about them is not bad, and I feel like Lisa Joel was more trying to touch on the fact that people's takes on other people's behaviors is nuanced, and I don't think she's trying to make a statement to you as the reader on how to feel or that she's okay with what happens in this book, especially because of like the last chapter and like the last page of like when you get that last final twist. I feel like to me it was more to say that like everyone has a skewed truth and like no one really is a reliable narrator. Anyway, I really like this. I'm giving it 5 stars, and I can see why other booktubers recommended it, and I definitely will recommend this in the future. I feel like this might end up on my favorites list of the year. Yeah, I don't know. I need to go to bed. I need to go to bed. I'm tired. Obviously Murphy is already trying to go to bed, so I'm gonna go now.
Next book on my list is Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica.
I loved this book, and you definitely need to read it if you are getting into the thriller genre because it has so many different things going on in this book.
It was such a good, very straightforward, action-packed book that had a really good twist at the end.
And when the end hits, it is such a it throws you that you're just not expecting it.
Okay, I realized that this maybe actually isn't the best place to film because they're doing construction in the distance and then the pool is making a lot of noise, but the weather is so nice right now. The first week and a half that I was in Texas, it's been like 90 degrees. It's been so fucking hot, and the last couple of days there's been like a gentle breeze coming through the air, and the weather, oh my god, I think I just felt rain. It's gonna start raining. Anyway, let's do this update really fast, but the weather is just nice. Please ignore them banging in the distance. I'll try to edit the sound, but I need to be in nature right now. Also because Riley's dad has planted like such beautiful plants back here. This is just such an iconic, beautiful little spot. Anyway, I'm like 5 minutes into this audiobook. I started listening to this last night after I finished None of This Is True. Let me just say, what is it with thrillers and people being cheaters? Can nobody just get married and actually be faithful to their spouse? Like, what is going on? This woman is waiting for her husband to get home. He gets home, he has like lipstick on his collar. And she's like, yeah, he's been cheating on me for a while, but that's okay because I'm cheating on him too. So she goes out for a run to meet up with her lover, like this guy that she cheats with. And this van pulls up and I'm pretty sure she gets kidnapped because then we go into the next chapter and it says, I hear footsteps. They move across the ceiling above my head. My eyes follow the sound, but there ain't nothing to see because it's just footsteps. But don't matter none though because the sound of them alone is enough to make my heart race. And it's like this woman that's like, oh my god, the sound in the background. Anyway, it's clearly a woman who's being held captive. So I'm like, all right, I'm intrigued. I think the kidnapping may outweigh the domestic cheating stuff because that's my least favorite thing about thrillers. Like, why can no one keep it in their pants? I guess it gives people motives to murder each other, but I'm just like, it's so unoriginal. But anywho, let's see what I think of this. Also, I need to go inside because the sounds out here, not great for filming. Okay, I have been back from Texas for over a week and many things have happened. I went to a wedding, I went to the Sabrina Carpenter concert, I had a Halloween party. Also, all of my nails have fallen off except for this one little pinky nail. I've also finished Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica, and unfortunately, I hated this book. It took me over a week to read it. I started it like the day before I left Texas, and then I read it until yesterday, and I just could not care less about this book. I could not. I do not like it at all. I will admit that I did not see the twist coming, but it was one of those where it was so out of left field that there wasn't really even a way to predict it. That only works on me sometimes. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, sure, you threw me off, red herrings, whatever. But overall, this book was just a little messy and hard for me to follow. So like I previously mentioned, we open on this woman going missing when she goes for a run. And so you spend a lot of the book wondering where that woman went. But the person that we open up with in the basement actually isn't that woman. It's a little girl named Delilah. And so she went missing 11 years ago from her family. It's very complex because the story follows a lot of different timelines and perspectives. So we have the 11 years ago timeline, which is where that woman went missing when she was running / when this girl Delilah and her mom goes missing. So there's all these people going missing. And then we have 11 years later when Delilah has been found. Like she runs away from where she's being held captive and she goes home. And so we're kind of trying to figure out what's going on with all these mysteries because Delilah's been gone and suddenly she's here and her family is reeling. And then we find out that her mother also went missing when she went missing. And so the woman that is her mother is a doula who works with local women giving birth, and she starts getting threatening texts telling her that they like want her dead and whatnot, and this is all leading up to her going missing. I feel like I've said the word missing a lot of times in this synopsis. But when we finally figure out what happened to the first woman when she went missing and then to Delilah and her mom, I just could not care less. I know I keep saying that, but I really could not. Like, it's just boring. It's boring! I feel like they chose a random ass character that had no motive and just made them evil for some reason. Similar to Alice Feeney, I think Miss Mary Kubica might not be for me. I just don't like the way they do twists. I really do not. I'm just at that point where I've been working on this video for so long and reading these books for so long that I don't really have any other thoughts or things that I want to say. Like, I get why other people might like these books, especially because with this Mary Kubica book, you can't really see the twist coming. So I could see how some other people might enjoy that style of a twist. I don't always love when it's something you can't predict, unless you can like go backwards in your brain and start to like connect the dots, which you kind of can with this. I don't know. I just didn't like what happened. I can't really explain it without spoilers. And to be quite frank, I don't think I have the energy to go into spoilers right now. I know it's very fun to rant and rave and talk about spoilers, but just trust me when I say it's dumb. If you want to know why it's dumb, just look up some Goodreads spoiler reviews. But I just kind of want to be done with this video. Someone came to visit us while we close out this video. She missed me a lot while she was in Texas. You were not in Texas. That was me. Oh, you want to leave? Okay, goodbye. I guess she didn't miss me that much. Also, she kind of smells bad right now because she was just outside. I hate when dogs smell like outside. If you know that smell, you will know exactly what I'm talking about because I hate the smell of outside. I wish that I had read maybe some other books on the list of thrillers that showed up quite a lot. Maybe like Behind Her Eyes or Look Closer. I feel like there were other books that maybe I would have had a better chance of liking. But it doesn't matter because in the end, out of these 3 books, I did have 1 5-star read. I really, really loved None of This Is True. I think that's definitely my favorite thriller that I've read in a long time. So I will be taking that with me as a recommendation of thrillers that I enjoy. I am very much running behind on Sarah Wien, so if you are kind of following the Sarah Wien saga and enjoying these videos, I do want to let you know that they're going to be going into the beginning of November. So when November rolls around and you see some intros that say it's Sarah Wien and you're like, it's not October anymore, just know that I had to do that for my mental health because I've just been so busy lately and I have not wanted to overwork myself. I've been prioritizing sleep and my sanity, and I'm just trying to protect my peace. So I will be continuing the Halloween festivities into November. But if you've made it to the end of this video and you enjoyed it, feel free to use the bat emoji for no reason other than it just came to mind. Thank you all so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.